2, 1. All right. So, welcome everybody to the GEET workshop. What I'm going to be doing first is I'll be running the GEET motor before I break it down, because once I break it down and put it back together, we'd have to wait for the silicone to dry, and that would just take too long. So we'll run it first. First we're going to put a little bit of gas.
Is it gasoline?
Yeah, just regular gasoline.
So you put a couple ounces in there.
Yeah, I'd say about 100 milliliters. Then we'll put some Dr. Pepper.
Save some for me.
Diet, I presume.
Hold that right there. Gotta get that picture of the Dr. Pepper.
Okay, Dr. Pepper. We're gonna put some coffee.
No, the cup. You got some.
No? Oh, okay.
That's structured coffee.
It's structured coffee. Okay, don't want to get too high.
That's good.
Okay, that's good right there. Set our valves. Okay, we probably set this on the ground, huh? Because it's gonna vibrate like crazy. Well, we'll try it. Anyone brave enough to help me hold this down? All right, thank you.
Hold the table.
You may have to jump on the table.
You don't want to, oh, I thought you wanted to put this on the ground. We can pull the
Could
table
we do
off.
that? Could we put it on the ground? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, pull the table off that way and just hold this up.
If you could pull the table back.
There you go. Thank you.
That's better.
You want the table behind it, or?
No,
That's fine.
You're right
That's
there.
fine. What we're going to be doing right now is we're going to bring a temp gun so you guys can see the temperature differences from the exhaust leaving to what's going on in here. Because right in here it gets, I mean, a major increase in temperature as to what the exhaust is leaving.
What's your horsepower? What's your output on this particular?
This one's at 212 cc, right around 6.5 horsepower.
So this size of GEET reactor, how big of a horsepower would you go with that size reactor?
With this exact size and the pipes I have in there, I've gone up to 10 horsepower. But as you know, you got to get a bigger reactor for more horsepower.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start it up again. guys can kind of see the vapor starting to spiral in there. That's just a natural spiraling vortex caused by vacuum. And that's very, very important to this system and how it runs. So now that you guys have seen it run it,
And that jar is cool, right?
yeah, oh yeah, this is
So what was the temperature of the reactor when you were pointing it there?
right here. It's like at 300, but as you start to go down, it jumps up to like 550. So you have that temperature difference.
I noticed you didn't have a fuel input port on this into the chamber.
Yeah, I was wondering that.
So,
myself.
how much pressure do you have to? So there's not any pressure, so it's actually a vacuum inside.
Yes,
so
you're.
it's real easy to feed fuel in from another.
Yes,
source, right?
yes, because you must have a vacuum in it. As I said, one of these motors, every time on the intake stroke, it creates a vacuum.
So how do you have some kind of little float in there that keeps it at a certain level, or how do you do that?
Yeah, once we want to build, like say on a generator,
Uh-huh.
this is not what we use.
Okay.
We use a different size bubbler for
That's just
maximum
a glass jar so we can see what's
This
going
is just
on.
glass so that everybody can see what
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
running in there, and
understand.
just to prove that you can run on just about anything.
What's the mixture you have in there at present?
Right now, it looks like we have, I'd say about 20% gas and
How many
80%,
30?
20%,
20? Okay.
Would
and
it react
80%.
any different if you would have mixed that mixture before you started it up? Made it all uniform? Would it have made any difference?
I would say with the air going in, it's mixing itself.
Yes, exactly.
So when you have a mixture like that, when you first turn it on and use it, you've got a much higher percentage of volatile chemicals, and then as it runs for a while, they become less and less volatile. Does that reflect in the energy output of your engine?
No, because this makes any vapor a nice volatile gas.
Okay, so actually you wouldn't, if you just started out with it.
Well, you
a
see, you
little-
need something
just
to
to get it
prime.
hot. Yeah, that's right.
You gotta
Once you
prime
get it up
it.
to temperature, it'll.
Yeah, you could either use gasoline, oil, diesel, whatever. It all depends on what you tune your reactor to. Or some
about
people have
water?
been able to store the gas. So once the GEET gas is created, they store it so that they don't have to worry about having gasoline or anything. They just use the stored GEET gas to prime
Just
their
to get it
reactor.
started.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Well, how do they get the temperature then? They start from the gas,
Well, the gas is very
which
volatile,
is, it'll create the
so
temperature.
it'll create the heat that you need,
Okay.
Either that or you got to carry around starter fluid with you, just to
Yeah.
get it going.
just to get it primed.
Okay, once you can run it on coffee.
Right.
Once it's starting, it's running, we can now continue the rest on coffee.
With the tuned rod, though, you got to have the rod just right.
For coffee or water or whatever.
Exactly.
Whatever the material is.
Yeah, and we teach you all that in the class.
Okay.
So we're gonna tear it
There's
apart
a lot
now.
of information. What's the rod?
Well, it's not-
Bring the
Well,
table
that's
back?
creating the
Yeah,
vortex
let's bring the table back
inside.
in.
That's where they're getting the free
Is that inside the jar?
And it's inside, the rod is inside that vertical
Pipe plus the motor.
floating rod inside that, this right here.
The free floating rod.
Yeah. So, and the rod's shaped. It's pointed down, it's got a cavitation. From the cavitation effect of the rod. That's, and all these, every single one of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna disconnect it right now so we can get it out of the way.
It's an energy gradient that affects so, and that's in every single one of these created it's just combining different vortexes created by
Okay, can you done that for me? Thank you.
case of
So okay, so first we'll break down the reactor so you guys can get a good idea of what's going on inside, or a much better idea.
It's cooled down by now.
Oh heck no,
Oh,
no, I gotta be careful.
do you have gloves?
I don't think I do. Yeah,
Do you have a pair of vice grips or something?
Yeah.
Channel locks?
yeah.
She did a really good speech of all this stuff, but she didn't really address.
The whole breakdown of this seems pretty simple.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. We'll tear it apart so people can see.
In this case, it's more than just the, there's a lot of different reactions.
Yeah, it's a little bit. These are the sight glasses that we use so we can observe the rod to make sure it's floating right, make sure it's centering itself, and to make sure that we're getting the plasma that we need to see.
Is the intercoupling of that nut you got over there the same circumference as the rod for the seating of it?
This?
Yes.
Yeah, this is what I use to hold it in place. And this is the rod.
At the bottom.
Yes.
Oh, that's because water.
And then you can see where you're having your transmutation, you're having the spiral effect. And
It might be melting the table. You may want to put it on the.
So that's a specific raw or just standard raw?
Basically, we use cold roll steel, but the rod has to be tuned to the length of the the
But it's
molecule.
not energized like our stuff.
No.
It's just a standard.
Just you actually energize it when you break in the
I
rod,
understand.
and you give it its magnetic signature.
And there's a pole magnetic north and south.
There's a north and south that no matter which way you hold it, it'll flip. North will always be at the top, no matter how many times. Now, I had a couple physicists here, and they were just blown away, and one of them actually gave him a rod so that he could take it home and maybe help me understand more about what's going on in there so I could, teach
Something
it better.
happens in the reaction that changes its polarity.
Yes. Yes.
Even after it's been one direction and you flip it, it changes.
It changes.
Now, is there a particular direction that you have to have the rounded ended and the cupped end of
It's
it?
coming in, gas.
Yes. You got to think about aerodynamics in there.
So your round end is on the bottom where the gas
This is going to enter.
Coming
bubble
in.
is coming in.
Yes. Yeah, and you got to have all this. Yeah, that's what we teach in class. How deep you got to go and how long this has to be and all that good stuff. The clearances and all that good stuff.
What was that piece of wire again you mentioned?
All this is to hold in the reactor rod where it needs to be when you start it, because obviously when it's off, it's gonna sit.
So this was at the bottom, where the bottom nut is, and this part was sitting
There.
right there.
Oh, I see. And then it'll take off and
And then it'll pick itself up and center itself where it wants to be. And this is also a good way to tell to see if your rod is actually getting too hot, because the rod will actually try to get away from the heat. So it goes right in here.
And you can see.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting nut. Where do you get that?
Granger.
This is not a Home Depot thing.
No, you gotta get them for.
What's this used for?
I think they use them for the side of engine blocks to measure their oil.
Oh, so they can just visually look in.
Yes.
So you want to put that puppy underground noise isolator to flush it in.
So when it's running, you can look in and you see
Yes.
if it's dark, I guess.
Well, not yeah. When it's dark and you have, like, say with what we were running, the chain on it is really small, so the energy and the plasma is not going to be as
The
big.
chain,
The molecule chain.
okay, on the rod.
No, the molecule chain of the vapor.
Okay, but where's it showing up that you could see?
Oh, right here at the top,
Okay,
right in here in this
all
little,
right.
in the concave right there. And like say you have crude oil. With crude oil, you have about most crude oils have about 72 elements. After you vaporize it and run it through your reactor, you get 12 elements coming out. Right, so you could imagine the type of energy that you're going to be able to see with that.
All right.
You'll have a much bigger plasma.
How do you get by the messiness of working with crude oil when you're working with one of these? Is it kind of messy?
Yeah, it could be messy, but I mean, it's no different than pouring in soda. You know, when you have the proper bubble there, you don't really have to get dirty.
It
It's
depends
just,
on the grade of crude.
yeah, also, yeah, like where I live, crude is very like muddy, and like say in the Gulf, it's more liquidy, so it's easier to work with.
Because you could use engine oil that's been expired engine oil.
You could use used engine oil, but the problem with that is when you run it in your motor, most of the vapors that come off the oil is what we use, and so it doesn't have as much energy. You're better off using transmission oil. Yeah, that has more energy than used engine oil.
Now, could you just use one crude oil or one specific type of fluid and you don't have to mix and match?
Yes. Yeah. It all has to do with the rod.
Okay.
Does the rod decompose?
The only thing that we've noticed on the rods is after maybe now I haven't ran these for a year, but other people that ran it, you know, for years, they notice that the tip starts to wear down after a while from coming to a stop. If you don't have, like, let's say in mine, my rod stop will actually go out first since it's copper, you know. So there's ways to get around that.
With the hole.
Yeah, that's fine. Just let it go.
Once I hit the floor. Sorry. Yeah,
okay.
I was surprised.
You okay? You
Yeah,
didn't
I'm
get
fine. No, I didn't scald.
All right.
No, I'm very sure.
Would it be a secret just to ask what length of a rod you would need for, let's say, a B 6 inches?
Yes.
It would be.
Yeah.
Those are the secrets that
Yeah,
the class, I guess.
That's the important part.
Just one little piece.
So as you notice, we just took out what's called the reactor pipe, right? And all this is where the reaction is happening, right in here. And that's where you have your rod floating, and you know, I'm not gonna tell you that you want to get that as smooth as possible in there. You know, you gotta remember that your vortex is very important.
You have to clean those occasionally then?
Now, the only times we've had to clean it is when you get too much liquid in there, because liquid will kill your reaction. You want to make sure that you have it vaporized. But anything like synthetic oils and antifreeze actually gum up the rod and the pipe. So you have to tear it apart and clean it out. It's a mess. So we stay away from synthetics. But anything else we've been able to vaporize, no problem.
Have you used some of the technology of Nelson Pope in picking your engine and vapor temperature?
Honestly, I can't answer that. I've never heard of him before.
He's the original high mileage engine guy.
Okay.
Out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. You might want to get one of his patents.
Yeah, maybe I'll take a look at it. Definitely. See me after so I can write down the email.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, you guys already know kind of how it works. You get your vapors in here, and this is where the reaction happens. And in here, I'll turn this so you guys can see. The inside of the...
That's the 2 roller. The 2 is
Yeah, go ahead. And that's basically what it is, guys. That's the most important part right here.
How is it clean in there?
I'm sure the inside of the big pipe would be as dirty as the small pipe. It'd be the same.
No. No,
The inside of this guy would be as dirty as that.
yes.
On the outside of the small pipe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
They're the same surface.
in countries where you could run water in it, you would not have these problems.
You won't have none of that, no.
That's one.
No, this is just... I'm going by what the inventor told me to do, because that's what he's
There's
been...
political reasons why you're speaking the way you are, and it's appropriate.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to get
It's
anyone...
good to protect yourself.
Exactly, exactly.
He wants to live.
Yeah.
Life is good.
I want to live long enough to see this out in the market, you know, just to have everybody running on a GEET. You know, there's helicopters in France that have them, you know, so we're going to get out there eventually.
I noticed that your reaction rod is quite long. I didn't make mine near that.
My reaction pipe?
Yes, pipe.
Well, you must have had, did you have it, you set for a different fuel?
Well, I was using gasoline on it. And then I started dumping using engine oil.
The reason I made mine this long is because this one, actually, I can fit the longest rod possible. So if I wanted to, I could slide a rod in there to run crude.
Yeah, now your reaction rod is probably about as long as what mine is. 4 1/8 inch. I think that's what I got mine. You said to cut mine down to about 3 5/8.
Right.
And go to a larger
Clearance.
gap.
Excuse me, I was just wondering for everybody here that this is being recorded and for everybody else's sake who's going to be watching this for information purposes, if everybody could speak out a little bit louder, as well as for my own self.
Yeah, and
So
if
that
anybody, any
caught on the
questions,
audio.
anything you guys are curious about?
So in this form, let's call it the Home Depot form, because everything here can be purchased at Home Depot.
Right.
There's a certain level of efficiency with this. And
We've seen
you put in multiple things, and I would say the length of this rod and the configuration of this is for random coffee, Mountain Dew,
the
water,
rod is
gas.
for that, yeah.
Yeah.
But if I want to just run one thing,
Yeah.
all I have to do is switch that, because this reactor is actually big enough to fit the biggest rod or the smallest rod.
And okay.
And the efficiency I guarantee with this is at least 50%, with 80% reduction of emissions.
What would you put in it to get the maximum efficiency, and what could be changed on this to get more maximum efficiency, like using more high-tech parts? I think that was his question.
It would
Well,
be.
I couldn't go there because he's not going to answer that. We have
Yeah.
to pay to get that class, that information.
Yeah, when you come to the class,
This is the hook.
you learn how to do that. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd share it all.
Oh, okay.
You know, but obviously I had to follow the rules that the mentor gives me. And so, you know, just
And you have to eat, and so does he.
exactly,
And it's appropriate.
exactly. So,
Where are the classes?
I'm offering right now classes in Bakersfield, California, but I also travel if it's worth it, and they got the proper equipment to teach.
What does the class encompass?
In a class, depending on which one you sign up for, you can bring in a small engine, or I give you a small engine like this. Like this actually belongs to a student of mine. He just let me borrow it so I can show people what you build in my class and get to take home. And then in the class, you have the option of paying a little bit more, and we get you a better built reactor than this. You know, you don't use Home Depot parts, and you expect to see some really great efficiencies.
Now, the length of copper there, why so long?
This is long because you need to cool this plasma. This plasma will be coming out of here like at around 140. That's too cold. And you get maximum expansion the more you cool it.
It's too hot.
So the vapor gives it the vapor,
The plasma gas
plasma gas, yeah.
leaves really hot, so as it cools, it expands.
So
And
depending on the size of intake and how much airflow, you might have to have more.
yes, but there's
Or different type
we're
of
coming
cooling.
out with a cooling unit that eliminates this.
Okay.
Because this is, as you can imagine, when you step on your gas pedal, it's going to take a little bit longer to respond with this long tube right here.
Yeah.
You know, so you're probably going to have like a 1 or 2 second lag. You know, for some people that want to get on it, you know, they just want to press the gas and go. This might be an issue for them. So we found our dealer in Iowa is making a really good cooling unit where it's going to eliminate this. And it's going to be
Air-to-air heat exchanger type, probably.
he has something. I'm not allowed to talk about it yet.
That's all right.
Until
Okay.
he builds the first model, then we'll actually be showing it and selling it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I gotta let him work
Make
out the
his
bugs
living.
first.
He's
Well-
got to make his living.
Well, that and work the bugs out to make sure it's working properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't just
So,
make something and start
I
to
heard
sell
you
it.
say earlier that you could store the gas. So you're storing plasma gas, and then if you stored enough of it, you could just run on plasma gas, and
Yes.
you wouldn't need.
Yes. Yeah. Once I
Would
mean,
you
what,
still need that rod?
yes. Well, no, you don't.
No,
You don't need the rod anymore.
that's what.
After you have the gas.
Well, once the GEET gas is made, you could store it. Do whatever you want with it.
What can it be stored in, and at what pressure?
Well, what they've been able to pressurize it in tanks like propane.
Okay, so you pressurize it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you could burn something to pressurize it at the same time you store
Barbecue.
it.
Yeah.
Barbecue.
Question on the chamber, how long will the chamber last? works real well.
The chamber?
Yeah.
You mean like wear and tear on it?
Yeah.
If you build it right and you get this rod to never ground out, you can imagine this is gonna last forever. I mean, all depending on what fuels you run. If you're gonna be running battery acid or nuclear waste, you gotta use, stainless steel or something that won't corrode.
Yep.
Yeah. And they've actually run nuclear waste through here and completely neutralized it.
Probably can't talk about it.
Oh, that's true. Probably not allowed to talk.
That's a non-subject.
Yeah.
We're all dead.
Wouldn't Homeland Security be after me if I had nuclear waste at home?
I would think that's a small clientele.
Well, I did see a demonstration one time about a plasma torch. This was made on a military base in California.
That's military. Anybody can make one of these.
Yeah,
And
this
this
is
thing
Home
was
Depot.
25 feet high, and they were burning nuclear waste, concrete, trash, everything through this plasma torch that dropped all this waste through it and created energy to run different things, but they were also cleaning up all the waste on the base. Wood, anything. He said they didn't get much energy out of concrete though when it fell through this plasma torch. But I seen the program on TV, and apparently this one guy saw the same program, and he went to Canada where this was and found out about it and went to his base and talked them into building one. So
All right.
Florida on a military base.
Yeah,
they have one of
plasma.
these.
Plasma is starting to be big in the science industry. They're starting to find out that plasma can heal. And we might have the inventor building a life-size GEET. So you can imagine there could be some therapeutical benefits from that.
Oh, that's good. That's real good.
Yeah.
I never heard that before.
Can you
That's
use
the
GEET to
first.
build a furnace?
Yes, you can also build furnaces out of this.
Now, does he have plans for that?
Yes. But you'd have to go through him with that.
So you could like heat your house and generate your electricity at the same time.
And also provide cooling.
Cooling, okay.
Because the furnace not only heats, but it's also cooling at the same time.
If you had free heat, you could actually get an efficient cooler, without spending money.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine a furnace where you could burn just about anything. And it'll be clean. You don't have to worry about emissions or anything like that.
Sensitivity.
It's still a little bit.
Still warm.
Very high.
And this is made out of just steel?
Yes, cold roll steel.
So the clearance between the rod and the inner part of the chamber is part of the secret,
Yes.
depending on the fuel.
Yes. Yes.
So
Every
different fuels, different clearance.
Exactly.
So this particular clearance you have for this show because random stuff shows up to get burned.
Exactly. And it's yeah.
You're in
I just want to show people, the wide range of things you can run on.
But you would still leave the reactor vertical.
Yes, I like the vertical reactors just because of how much easier it is to break down the molecules. You don't have to have this long old pipe like you do with the horizontal one. But some people have seen better performances with 45 degrees. It all has to depend on how you build it.
Technical question on the plasma gas storage. Can you give me just a brief idea of what the comparison is to energy in versus energy out? So if you have 1 gallon of gasoline in to make the plasma gas, how much would that produce in stored gas vapor or something of that nature?
That's
50%.
Yeah, I can only tell you 50%, but I'm sorry, it's just I gotta stick to those rules.
I'll just imagine,
it's
imagine higher, right?
You're making them uncomfortable.
Possibly.
way bigger. I mean, we've had some people say some just kind of really crazy claims that I've only seen certain claims that have gone way better than 50, but again,
They disappear.
yeah.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, but it's definitely you're definitely getting a lot more, or maybe it's not a lot more, but you're using a lot of what's being wasted.
Yes.
Because in your car you're wasting, a lot of unburnt fuel exits through the exhaust.
That's a better explanation.
underutilized.
Exactly.
So the quality of the metal that we would buy at Home Depot, same length of pipe, same everything. If you were to go somewhere else and get a different quality metal, would that increase, decrease?
Yes, and we teach you what works best, and where to get it, because there, you know, of course, there's way better things than Home Depot parts.
What is the seminar cost?
1,500,
Dang, that's reasonable.
and you get to take one of these home. Or if you bring a generator, we'll convert it and we'll provide everything you need to do the conversion. It's reasonable. I just want to make it affordable because, like I said, I want to teach as much people as I can. So that way, I'm not the only one doing it.
Not including airfare and hotel.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I got a ranch. If you want to sleep with my cows, that's fine.
Are you running your tractors on?
Oh, no, not at the moment because they got so much computers. I haven't found someone that can rewrite the computer program for me.
Get older computer, get older tractors.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Well, you ever figured out how to use this to transport water to the cows?
Any pump, any motor pump? Yes.
Anything will fit
Certainly.
on that shaft.
Yeah, like when I get back, I'm actually going to be going to Humboldt to help a group of farmers. Because their bill right now is $3,000 a month. So hopefully I can help with that.
So with this, it's 50% better.
Minimum.
Minimum. With
Guaranteed.
Home Depot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those guys got up there, they're talking about some good stuff, so we hope to see some really good, things up there.
Yeah, this could be used to help the marijuana fight up there too.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
You get 600% efficiency when you throw that in there.
I like that.
Probably.
And happy cows.
Cows, plants, everything, right?
Yeah.
So the free plans that are offered on the internet doesn't have this configuration.
No, it does not. So you guys actually learned a little bit by watching this. So when you go and look at the free plans, you can see, well, I saw him do something different.
Yeah.
That's to prove that it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, the free internet plans were just, just for someone to go out there and experiment.
Maybe 30% efficient or 40%.
Right. Yeah, because there's a lot of things that are not, I guess, correct, you could say.
If you're storing the plasma, what's the difference in power ratio or power generation when you're running the initial, like we did, and if we'd have stored that plasma and then ran it later, what's the difference in power?
Plasma.
Well, that plasma gas is rich in hydrogen, really rich in hydrogen, so you could kind of imagine how strong that's going to be.
Would it be better by running the plasma than what we just did?
Exactly.
After it's been used, it's better fuel than before.
Yeah, but then you start tapping into those efficiencies that we're not allowed to talk about. Yeah. So you gotta be careful.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
Too many people have disappeared.
And I don't want to be one of them.
It's better.
Yeah.
Compared
Big
to
Brother's
what we've
watching.
seen, we actually see something that works.
Yeah.
That you can build
Either that or
yourself.
they're still driving their car around the world somewhere, having a good time. Not like
No.
Boasting is not going to be healthy at this point.
No, it's not.
Any last questions?
Yeah, any last questions, guys? No? All right, well, thank you guys for attending.
Thank you. Good showing.
Oh, you're gonna put it back together, right?
No.
Yeah, not really. I mean, I could put it back together, but the silicone's going to take too long to dry.
I would make your student put it back together.
Yeah. Make them work double.
Good idea.
How many people would you need if you to come?
If it's in the United States, at least 6 students.
6 students.
Yeah, I mean, I've traveled to New Mexico for 6 students. So,
What does the seminar run?
1,500.
How much again?
1,500?
And that's usually the duration of a car engine class, right?
No, the car
10 week?
engine. The car
10 week?
engine. We speak in private about that one because that one's longer. We got to talk about what car it is. We got to talk about if it's even possible. Because again, if it's too new, I'm afraid I can't do it. Not yet, at least.
Can we bring stuff like this on the plane though?
In a
you can't-
box in the
no, not this.
shipped.
This you can ship
Impact
it as long as you
package.
take out the oil and all that good stuff. Yeah, you can ship it
Just ship it ahead
by
of time.
ground. Yeah.
Okay, got
Does
it.
the class just last a day or no?
It's a week long. Yeah, for small engines. For vehicles, it depends on what vehicle it is. So
Maybe I could use a small engine and put it in my car, and that way I could certify.
we have people that make what's called slave units.
For electric cars.
You gotta worry about the emissions testing.
Closer to
for
Fred
every-
Flintstone style, I think.
Don't record that.
I'll tell you a
I
strategy
should
I
have kept
think
that
would
quiet.
work. You take whatever engine you want, you put it on a trailer, or you haven't modified your vehicle in any way, then you feed forward electric energy and you put hub motors on your front wheels. You have not violated any law, and you can keep your engine in pristine shape for passing your tests, and yet you're running with the engine in the trailer.
We also have a different method where, like, a 10 horsepower motor can provide enough fuel to power a locomotive,
Oh, okay.
and that's one
The
of the things
GEET
we
fuel.
teach in class. Yes.
GEET fuel.
Now you say it's a plasma, but my understanding of plasmas has been that they're high temperature.
This is a low temperature plasma.
Okay.
Yeah. See, the plasma is not well understood yet.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of stuff that we don't understand yet. The only thing we can say is about 98% of the universe is plasma. You know, it's the most abundant state of matter. And people say it's the first state of matter. Yeah.
Different variations of plasma,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yes.
By different gases and so forth placed within these tubes that are
Right.
produced.
You talk of blood plasma, right, which is totally different.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That gets real confusing.
Well, if you want to add that in there, you know, somebody, you want to get rid of,
Try putting blood in it?
make use of them.
The craziest thing I heard was hot sauce.
Not
Oh,
blood,
no.
though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the craziest stuff I heard.
So any liquid that bubbles,
As long as you can vaporize it. Like I said,
organic,
synthetic.
organic
Yes.
vapor, or organic liquid is a better way to say that.
Now,
Now, would you call Coca-Cola organic? I mean, it's
honestly, I think what we're breaking down in this is
Sugar.
sugar.
yeah.
That's what we're breaking down.
Well, how many classes are you giving yet this year?
This year I've given 4 classes.
No, but yet to go.
Oh, man, a lot. Right now I have 2 scheduled, and then I have another 3 on my flyer schedule.
Okay.
Imagine I could just give you a flyer with anything.
Yes.
Solid material.
So lots of traveling.
Porous material into the bubbler, and anything that I add in there that causes to break it down becomes
Okay, have a movie.
say the blood mafia.
So the telephone number on the card is your cell phone.
Guy in the butler, I like your way of thinking. You're pretty quick.
And this is
The flyer there.
And say crime's a good investment. You see this one?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get ahead of it.
Let's go into a small post edit.
Yeah. I'm standing